Hey guys, welcome to the start of a new reading vlog. It is November 21st, and I've got things to talk to you about, books that I've read, packages that I just received. This literally just got dropped off 5 minutes ago, and I want to open it because it is from Sourcebooks. And I don't know what I'm getting from Sourcebooks, but I'm excited. So before we get to that, let me just tell you what I've been reading, what I'm currently reading, because I'm sitting in my little reading chair and I've been doing things today. It's very dreary out today, so it felt like a good day to just like sit and read. And instead, I've been sitting here just like writing down video ideas and having zero intention of filming them today because I have like limited time before I have to go to work and I don't feel like getting dressed and putting a face on. So I'm just gonna film this instead. Okay. What have I been reading since we last chatted? Okay, so I read, oh yeah, that was a while ago. I read the third Lark Cove book by Devney Perry, which was tragic. The first ones were tattered and timid? They all start with T. They all are very dramatic covers. I like the covers. I like the aesthetic of the covers. But these are basically Devney Perry books, which means they're small town Montana with an emotional undertone romance. This one was probably my least favorite that I've read out of the series so far. I think there are only 4 books out in the series. And this one is likely going to be my least favorite of it. It was just very... All of her books are super emotional, and some of the, like, emotional trauma that the characters are dealing with is more relatable than others, and this one just wasn't for me, and I just don't think that the relationship was actually that healthy. I think it could have been if the story were slightly longer and we saw more of, like, growth and time periods for both of the characters in the romance, but it was kind of, I don't want to say rushed, just not well developed, I don't think, for the amount of, like, issues that the characters were working through. It was like a girl, it was one of the friends of the previous characters that we met in the first 2 books, and she moves out to Montana from New York, so it's the stereotypical trope of, like, a big city girl moving to, like, a small town in the wilderness. And her, like, grumpy-ass neighbor who has been dealing with grief of, like, losing his, like, wife and child, and them, like, working through stuff together, but I just don't think that it was actually very well done. So I gave it 3 stars. I still really love Devney Perry's books. Her books are still super addicting. Let's see, and then, ooh. So, me and my friend Kim, who it was the one who introduced me to diamond painting. You want to see the one I'm working on? Here, let me bring you over to my little desk. I started the huge one, like the huge, this literally goes on for eternity, of like a huge book stack, but it's one of the dragons and I started the top. Okay, yeah, we're getting back to the update. Hold on, you're looking at my nose. Can we see me? Okay, we're back. Okay, so anyway, her favorite author is Jodi Allen Malpass, and if you guys watched one of my more recent reading vlogs, I tried reading this man and I DNF'd it. I had a lot of issues with that book. She has a very particular alpha male storyline that she likes to follow, and so, okay, backtrack, because I'm getting off track here. I read The Protector by her. This is a different series. This is a different character, plot, everything from the This Man series, and she thought I would like this one better because the female is actually someone who can stand on her own, which I didn't think was a requirement that needed to be specified, but apparently it is, and it was not bad. It was a 3-star read for me, but I still had issues with it. Like, I still didn't really like Jake as it's a bodyguard falling in love with, like, his client, basically, type of story. And I did like Cammy. Cammy was the female lead, and she had her own job, and she had her own morals, but I feel like it established that very early on, that they were 2 people with 2 separate lives who were very, like, in control of their own lives, and I feel like that part of the story just kind of fell away as the romance took over, which is standard for romance books, but I still like to see them each having their own thing instead of their own thing being each other. So that was a qualm that I had. There's a plot twist kind of towards the end that we uncover that I just wasn't cool with. I gave it 3 stars. It was infinitely better than the issues that I had with This Man, but I just don't think she's the author for me, and I felt horrible saying that, but that's just how reading works. It's opinion-based. Okay. And as of right now, just started the audiobook of The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. We got this in in Unplugged Book Box back in October, and I was so excited over getting this book because this is like so my type of story. This kind of goes off on the branch of like my weird love of like circus books. So in relation to like circus books, I also love books that, I hate the term freak show, but I like stories following freak shows, like traveling freak shows for a lack of a better term, or like oddities shops. Like the culture that surrounds like weird shit is I love weird people. I think that's my thing. Like, do you guys remember the show Oddities back? It was like a long time ago. I think it was on TLC or Discovery. I don't know. But it was literally just about a shop that sold weird shit. Like, it was just a whole bunch of like taxidermied animals and like bones and weird haunted dolls. I eat that culture up. Like, it's my favorite. So this book basically follows a girl who moves in with her weird uncle who runs a shop like this and is just basically helping him out while he deals with health issues. And while she's running the shop, she finds a hole in the wall, and this hole leads to a bigger doorway that goes into a different world. Like, they get through this hole in the wall to like patch it, and there's a dead body on the other side, and it's not actually like on Earth. Like, the other side of the doorway is like a stone chamber, and I'm not very far into it. I started listening to it and I'm like, I don't know, maybe 70-ish pages. All of this is looking familiar. So I'm like maybe around there, and they're just starting to like go through the doorway and discover things. So it's like super weird oddities, curios type shop mixed with portal fantasy, and it's like everything. So I'm reading this. That's where I am with my books. I have a whole bunch of my holds that just came in through Overdrive. So we're gonna see what I'm in the mood for when I finish the Hollow Places, but that'll be in the next update. I wanna get to this because I don't know what it is, and I tend to get the source books, like the Source Casablanca, like the romance source books, which means this potentially could be really fun, and I don't remember signing up for anything. So I see cowboy hats. That's all I see peeking out from under this paper. What is this? From your friends at Sourcebooks Casablanca, happy holidays and happy reading! Oh my god. Am I a booktuber now? Do I get mailing things? I've never actually gotten like unsolicited books. This is exciting. HEA or bust. This is a sticker. And then, oh, look at it. Oh my goodness. Oh, there's pencils. I feel like I've made it as a romance booktuber. This is my moment. Just absorb it. Okay. There are pencils in here, like holiday pencils. This is so cute. All I want for Christmas is an HEA. 50 Shades of Slay. This is, they're punny Christmas romance pencils. Okay. First book we've got, Joy to the Wolves by Terry Spear. Fun, flirty, and super sexy. Sign me up. As Christmas approaches, Red Wolf shifter Brooke Sarris unexpectedly inherits an antique shop in Portland, Oregon. Come on, like, we're just transitioning well. You just gave me that segue. Stack it on the back of the chair and see if it falls over. Okay, next we've got Smokin' Hot Cowboy Christmas by Kim Redford. I recognize that author. Country Christmas romance as sweet as pie and sexy as hell. This one is, it's been one fiasco after another for newcomer Belle Tarleton since she began trying to turn her ranch into an art center. Why would you do that? Leave it as a ranch. We all love animals here. We don't need art, we need animals. Spoken like the person who regrets their interior design degree and now works in the vet field. Local workers seem determined to ruin her Christmas party plans, and she hopes bringing him down on his luck, Rowdy Holloway, his name is Rowdy, good lord, to help with renovations and will get things back on track. He is the unluckiest cowboy in the whole of the Wildcat Bluff County, Texas. Sold. Okay, we're gonna actually put that on the shelf because that's making me nervous. We'll go that way so you guys can see him. Okay, next, The Best Cowboy Christmas Ever by June Favre. Guaranteed melt your heart romance. When handsome town sheriff Derek Shelton meets Angelique Guillory and her young daughter at the Garrett family ranch, he's immediately drawn to the woman who seems to desperately need a true family Christmas. Hallmark Channel Christmas movie. Plus cowboys. Sign me up. Okay. Blue Sky Cowboy Christmas by Joanne Kennedy. These literally all look identical. Every single cover looks the same, and I love it. Sometimes there's really no place like home for the holidays. Weary from a long deployment, Griff. Bittersweet, am I right? Griff Bailey has been dreaming of a quiet Christmas on his family ranch, but all his hopes of peace are upended when he finds his one-time fling, Riley James, has moved in. That's my Christmas story. I mean, it fits right in with all those. Okay, and then Mistletoe and Mr. Right by Sarah Morgenthaler. Shit, this is the sequel to the Alaska one. The moose one. The tourist attraction. I didn't like that book at all. It's okay. It's blurred by Sarah Morgan. I like Sarah Morgan. How the Moose Almost Stole Christmas. Oh, this one follows Lana. Okay, we met her. Well, this is a follow-up to that. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. Some people really loved the tourist attraction. I, in particular, did not care for it too much, but it is Christmassy. I do love me a good Christmas story. This is like small town Alaska, so my main issue that I had with the first book was I really didn't like the two first characters, so maybe I'll like these characters more. Because this is obviously going to follow a different set of characters, right? I think so. Yeah, Lana and Rick. Sure. Also, there's a border collie on the cover, so things are looking up. And then there's a little bag of treats and candy in here. Oh my god, I made it! I made it onto like Christmas Romance BookTube mailing lists. This is the happiest I've ever been. Merry Christmas to me. I am gonna have a cowboy Christmas dream. Like, look at all of these books. I'm so excited. Also, let's just showcase these all next to each other so y'all can appreciate that they are all identical covers. It's literally all just cowboys standing near a Christmas tree. I love it. Okay, cool. That's my check-in as of right now. I might pick those up because I am in full-blown Christmas mode. I am decorating my house as we speak. It's a good time. Okay. Gonna go read some more stuff now. So it's Sunday now. We're getting an extra check-in. I'm feeling very ambitious this week. But I finished The Hollow Places. Loved it. Everything that I want in a weird little book. Probably 5 stars. Haven't decided yet. Haven't fully digested it, but I finished it last night. And I adore this type of story. It's just super weird. And it was creepy enough to like not really freak me out, but like give me the heebie-jeebies at certain points. Like the boatman was a bit much. I loved it. It was so weird. So if you're looking for like portal horror, that's a genre that I didn't know was a thing that I needed in my life, but I do now. And if you have any recommendations to books similar to this, I know when I hauled this in the Unplugged book box, a lot of people said that they love the Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher, so I think I might try and get a copy of that and read it, because this was just such a fun, weird little book. And the writing was hilarious. Like, honestly, the like inner monologue of our protagonist in this book was superb for just like fun horror. I loved it. So very impressed by that. As far as what I'm about to start next, my hold just came in for Kingdom of the Wicked. I haven't read much YA, specifically YA fantasy, very much at all this year. So we might pick this up. So I might pick this up just because I'm in a good mood to read it, so we might do that one. But I'm also feeling very Christmassy, especially after I just got all of those like cowboy Christmas books. I feel like I want to read one of those, but I'm worried that the second that I like switch over completely to Christmas mode, that's all I'm going to be reading from now basically until Christmas. And it's not even Thanksgiving yet as I'm filming this. So we shall see, but that is my check-in. I have a couple hours before I go to work, so I'm going to edit a couple videos. I'm probably going to diamond paint for a little bit. And then we'll start something. Okie dokie, it is the following Tuesday, and I have to finish this vlog out now because I'm about to start a whole bunch of new books and stuff, so I need to stop at some point. So, pulling up Goodreads, going back to where we were. Okay, so since I talked to you guys, I should have gotten these books down. Hold on. Okay. So, since I talked to you guys, I listened all the way through Kingdom of the Wicked, and like I was saying, I haven't read much YA fantasy at all recently. Been a little burnt out on it, so I was kind of nervous to get into this, but a friend of mine wanted to read it, and my hold came in, and I was like, let's do this. Also because it's shiny. This was so good. I was so pleasantly surprised by this, and I so want this to be an adult series because I really want some smutty times with Wrath in the next book. I want her to pull a Sarah J. Maas and just start bridging this series up into the adult world. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. But I went in fairly blind into this. Like, I knew basically the little bit that I talked about in the unboxing video that I did for Beacon for this, that was basically all that I knew. It was so good. Like, the Italian influence in this was just, it was great. It was so interesting. I learned so many fascinating recipes while in this that I was not expecting to pick up. So this was like a weird mixture of like old, I don't know what time period it was set in. I think that was something that a lot of people brought up. I don't know if this was supposed to read as historical or not. It's still obviously fantasy, but it's very clearly set in like kind of historic Sicily, and it was fascinating learning about like Sicilian culture. That was really cool. I also loved the witchcraft representation. That I feel like representation is not a good word, but I feel like this introduced like kind of ancient Sicilian folklore into it, which was fascinating. It was just really cool. So the magic system in this was very fleshed out. All of her family dynamics within the magic system was so like real. Like I felt like I was in her family. All of the side characters felt like real people and like they weren't just side characters. And then we get into the Princes of Hell and all of like the 7 Deadly Sin brothers, and there was not enough lust on page. My only demand for the next book in the series, and all of the however many books are left in the series, is that we just follow lust. Okay? Cool. Basically all the brothers that are involved in this, we only met 3 or 4 in this one. They all represent the 7 Deadly Sins, and they all basically like invoke those feelings in people. So like Wrath is our main dude in this, and I feel like he both feeds off of people's like rage and anger, but also just kind of like feeds into it and like makes it amplified. So the guy who did like Greed was in like kind of a casino gambling setting, and it just like, you kind of got in the mindset of like just wanting to keep going. And then we met Lust, and I was just like, I'm into this. Sign me up for Brother Lust. That's what I gotta say about this. So I gave this 4 stars. I actually really, really enjoyed it, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. Alrighty, the next book was the romance pick that we chose for the Page Turners Book Club, and that was, spoiler alert, by Olivia Dade. This was so good. If you're picking up like a really good, like contemporary, slightly nerdy adult romance, this is one that I feel like should be on that list. This was like grown-up, nerdy, romantic goodness. This has so much good representation in it. So this basically follows our main character, who is a bigger girl. That was the first thing that gets very good page representation of fat shaming and body positivity is full front in this book all the time, and it was fantastic. So she is a woman who, one, she works in STEM, which is something I get really excited about seeing in books. She works in geology, but she also writes a ton of fan fiction for this show. It's essentially kind of like a Game of Thrones type of show, but set in a fictional world. It follows like demigods and like Greek gods and everything, and she writes fan fiction for it, and she basically ends up going on a date with like the heartthrob actor of the show, and he is our other point of view in this book, and he also has some really good representation in it. He has dyslexia and basically has spent his entire life feeling somewhat shamed for not being smart, and it's kind of breaking through the stigma that even though he's a pretty face and everybody just thinks that he's dumb because he can't read clearly or as well as other people could at his age group when he was younger, he wrote himself off as being just a pretty face. So it's got some really good representation between the two of them and their dynamic. And then there's the whole like fan fiction world that gets introduced into this. If you've ever read fanfic, you get all of the representation in this. Like you get like good terminology, you get good interactions, you get all the hashtags that you're used to seeing. It was done perfectly. So I feel like this was just a solid 4-star read for me. It had so much great diverse representation of like all different facets of life. And nerdy goodness and sexy scenes in it. I was not expecting to get as graphic as the scenes were on page, and I was here for it. It was delicious. So I read that, and the last book that I wanted to talk about very briefly, because I'm actually making a video about this book and other books in this world, I read Becoming Wild by Carl Safina. This is a nonfiction book discussing the cultures of animals, which is a fascinating thing. I literally just filmed an entire video about like animal nonfiction books that I recommend. So if that's interesting to you, look out for that video because it's coming soon and this one is included. But it basically is discussing the concepts of societies in the animal world and how there are different dynamics and different like families and groups of different animals all around the world, and all the facets that like contribute to group settings of animals. And it was mind-blowing. It was so cool. It basically discussed like how like sperm whales are a very matriarchal group. Like they depend a lot on the females of that group to keep everything going and provide like babysitting services and all of that stuff. And then it got into like macaws and like how the parrots of the Amazon have very specific languages and dialects to those languages that they understand. Like, did you know that animals literally speak in different languages? Because if you play the same type of sounds to our ears that are recorded in one part of the world for the same type of birds who make the same type of sounds in another part of the world, they won't recognize it because it's in a different language. Mind-blowing. And stuff like that is fascinating to me. So, I read that, gave it 4 stars. I know that's a very specific niche thing that I like learning about, but if I read nonfiction, it's generally going to be nature or animal-based. And that was one of them. So I recommend it if you're into the animal world, and look out for a video where I talk about more of those coming soon. And that's going to be it for this portion of the reading vlog. No, that's going to be it for this vlog in general. I'm done. I've been talking a lot in this one. It's probably going to be a long one. So that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will check in with my next reading vlog.